Money Vikings, Money Viking G, welcome back to the channel. Thanks a lot for joining me. Please hit like and subscribe and all that great stuff if Money Vikings provides good information for you, because we're just trying to deliver ways for middle-class people to build wealth in the modern world. So anyway, with that, without further ado, I got a special one for you today. I want to talk about 4 big things that Gen X can do right now in order to basically not screw up in terms of wealth building and preparing for retirement and all that stuff. And newsflash, I hate to break it to you, Gen X, because I know we don't really feel this way, but we are now between the ages of 45 and 60. I really can't believe that. The oldest members of Gen X are going to start turning 60 this year, which is really amazing and kind of shocking to me. But that is, so number one, 60 is kind of getting into retirement zone if one has been planning and preparing for many decades. But a lot of times, a lot of Gen Xers have not. They've been hit with a number of different factors in life that have affected things. Has been a bumpy road at times for Gen X in terms of retirement, jobs, wealth building, a number of, shocks throughout our working careers, probably starting way back with the dot-com bust in the, late 90s. And from there was kind of a domino of different things. There was 9/11, which disrupted jobs in the stock market for a while. There was, of course, the Great Recession. And there, of course, has been COVID. And now we're dealing with inflation, and we're dealing with the sort of tariff trade war thing. But the big picture, though, on all this is that there's always going to be something like that in the world. There's always going to be some sort of like macro disruptions going on or movements going on. So what can we do now to not screw things up? That's the big topic today. What can we do now to not screw things up? Because, if you're between 45 and 60 years old, it is absolutely crunch time in terms of wealth building and preparing for retirement and securing your financial sort of house, getting your financial house in order. So, the absolute number one thing I would say right now is don't go any further into debt. If you do have some debt, the biggest thing with the debt that I've found is, number one, stop the bleeding, right? Because then you can heal. But if you have a car that is doing fine, it's got some life left in it, it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg or a fortune to repair, it gets you from point A to point B, that thing is worth holding on to for a lot longer and not adding another, $20,000-$30,000 car loan. And, $20,000, that's kind of like low these days. There's cars that are like $45,000 seems to be like a middle of the road car price. So that's the biggest thing, is do not go into further debt at this point. And ideally, we need to be paying down the toxic debt. So anything on a credit card at 14, 15, 16, 17% interest up, that stuff has just got to be destroyed, and you'll sleep better at night. It'll be a lot better. So that has to be priority number one, I would say. Priority number two has got to be that you are automating every couple of weeks some amount into a rational, low-cost, diversified investment portfolio, right? And I'm talking about, and ignore all the noise right now, all the noise about the stock market, up and down, up and down. In fact, the fact that it's come down a bit, if you're dollar cost averaging every 2 weeks, you're just now buying more shares. So that's basically, this is a gift for you right now, in a lot of ways. So we've got to be set up to be automating some amount every couple weeks. Now, I understand that there's times when we need to pull back on that, or we can ramp it up. Experts, of course, want us to be at least over 10%, that going up every year, 10, 15, 16, 18% savings rate. And of course, the higher you can go, the faster you can build the wealth snowball. But I realize sometimes don't let what is it called? Don't let good be the enemy of, and don't let perfection be the enemy of good. So instead of just going for perfection, go for that 3%. And you get a match or whatever. Go for the 5%. Go for the 6%. It's better than 0 is my point. And it will add up over time. So the third thing right now for Gen X, if you're between 45 and 60, we do need to get our paperwork and kind of life stuff in order. At that age, you probably have kids. You might even be getting ready to have grandkids, which is kind of wild to think about. But you want to be thinking about, do you have a living trust set up? Do you have a will set up? Do you have all these documents organized and set up? I really found that once I had them organized and set up, it was just really nice to put all that stuff away, and it was done. And it was like, check the box, get all that stuff organized, and put it away. So, definitely do some research into that and get your house in order there. The fourth one is going to surprise you a little bit. Maybe it's time to take a little risk. Okay. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, no, you're 45 to 50. Why would I be taking any risk? Yeah. Well, the reality is that you could be only halfway through your life at this point. So you have another, let's say, 50 years to build wealth and to live your life. So there is a place in a portfolio, in a diversified portfolio, for some amount of risk. And so I would say, I would call it, for me, 5, 10, 15% of assets, and put that into something that you can see as a little higher risk. I think it can be worth it. You have to be okay with volatility. You have to be okay with losing it. You have to be comfortable with that. But if you have the 85% in your S&P 500 index funds and your Vanguard dividend funds and your Schwab dividend funds and your Berkshire Hathaway and your bond funds and your CDs, which are all just normal investment type things, your REIT fund, whatever, is it really going to hurt you to take 10% and to put it in some Bitcoin or try some other sort of little riskier thing that might have a higher return? I don't know. I think it might be worth it. So that's number 4. And the fifth bonus thing I'll talk about, this is obviously also crunch time for us to take care of our health. So make sure you're taking care of your mental health, your physical health, you're tending to your relationships, you're tending to your spiritual health, you're taking care of yourself spiritually. What does that mean? That's different for each person, but it could be about going to church or synagogue or whatever your religious institution is. It could be about reading books about spirituality and talking with people about them. It could also be about meditating, yoga, whatever it might be. So with that, hey, thanks guys. Really appreciate seeing y'all. Thanks for watching, and catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.